Well, speaking of that, let's talk about the turtles because the turtles is one of those areas where people do run into trouble. There's many different types of, different species. It's, as you had mentioned at the beginning of the show, it's one of the group of animals in our industry that does tend to get abused just because they live forever. They can live through almost anything. They just don't die even when they're kept in the worst conditions. So maybe you could tell us a little bit more about the two species that you keep. How large are they as adults? And would you recommend, if somebody is just a diehard, I need a turtle, are these two species that are good candidates for somebody who you could actually, we're talking about an individual who you would trust to do the right thing?
Yeah. So the wood turtle is not necessarily a species that I'd say is like a great and very accessible species for beginner. The reason why I got her is there was a person in town here that just I saw on Kijiji had some really, really inexpensive babies. So I was like, oh my gosh, because at that point I'd see them offer quite a bit for quite a bit more. So I was like, oh, I'll go check them out and saw them. And the way that this person was keeping them, I don't know, he must have gotten the babies. I can't imagine he bred them himself, but they were kept really, really dry, and I could already see some kind of scutes not forming the best on the wood turtle. So that's why I brought her home, and that was a learning process for me too, because previously to keeping her, all I'd had was a common stink pot and then an eastern box turtle, and I love that box turtle. Just my living situation changed pretty quickly, and so unfortunately I had to rehome her. So I was kind of looking to fill that niche again, and that's why I got the wood turtle. But that was such a process, and you can actually still see on her shell. It's almost like a tree stump when you cut. You can see the rings, and you can kind of see from when I got her and when I'm starting to figure things out until when things got totally figured out. And basically, I was keeping her like a box turtle because that's all these care sheets online that you'd see. That's what I'd read. And then there was one person on Instagram, and I cannot remember this person's name. Unfortunately, they're not very active anymore, so I can't remember. But I just saw that he was keeping them almost in a pond, and I was like, that's just so different than everything else. So I reached out to him, and he was really kind and messaged me back, and kind of shared that the trick to keeping these guys is essentially keeping them semi-aquatic. And as soon as I converted her enclosure to about half water, just this drastic change, and she was more outgoing. Um, she would she would just eat things way more readily. She was more curious. She'd come out just really inquisitive because there are really intelligent species, and I find that lots of land turtles. I don't know if it's just from having to be visual hunters, but they're really, really inquisitive and they're really intelligent, and you could just see that change. And unfortunately, that took a couple months to get there, but such a cool animal. I think they get up to about 8 inches. Someone's gonna probably skewer me because that's not right, but they're definitely a smaller land turtle for sure. And I think that would be a good like graduation turtle. Maybe not where you'd want to start, but a really good one just because you're getting some of that aquatic and that terrestrial side of things, and you're getting that buffer. But if someone was looking to get into turtles, like musk turtles are just amazing. I think mud turtles are also really popular. We can't keep them here in Alberta, but musk turtles are pretty much almost entirely aquatic. They're some of the smallest species of turtles, and most of them are found in North America. So you don't need these crazy parameters. You're not trying to replicate something that might be really difficult or trying to procure food items for them that would be really hard to find. So I ended up with the loggerhead musk turtle just because it is a smaller species. They usually max out about 5 inches. They're unfortunately not very common, which is too bad because they're really inquisitive. You're getting they're like a snapping turtle really in such a small package. And like she'll come right out. She can like she's watching me right now because she can hear me talking away. So she's sitting here waiting for some night crawlers. But that's definitely like bar none, like either common stink pot or a musk turtle. Like that is such a good entry species. And not even if you're new to reptiles, like if you're just looking for a good pet that is engaging, like my wife, she's not by any means a reptile person. She likes animals and whatnot, but when she comes down here, like that's what she likes most is the turtles. They're just really accessible to I think lots of people, and the just staying that small. Like I've got her in a 4 foot long tank with I have a custom background just so she can get out. And I mean, really a small amount of space. Like she only sticks to half of the tank. which makes me feel good because she's got the space where she could go if she wants, but she's kind of got her territory set out. And it's in a really small space. And when you look at things like sliders, like they just need so much room. And that's just something really hard to offer inside. And also, they're just sun worshippers. And if you're not going to offer high quality UVB and monitor that output, they have such high calcium needs just by maintaining that shell. They really, it needs to be something that's on point. And that's just something I think it's really hard to do, especially up here in Canada where we can't necessarily, or at least where we live in Canada, you can't keep things outside year round. And I think that's really important consideration for some of these bigger species. So that would be my recommendation, is just starting with those musk turtles. And I mean, within that family of turtles, there's so much diversity in every color. Like if you were to put a loggerhead next to a stink pot, I mean, they couldn't be two more different colors and patternings. And, care needs are almost identical, like very, very similar.
Yeah. Ryan, when you were saying that you were potentially thinking of doing a turtle aquarium, what was that going to be in your future aquarium? And if so, what was the species you were thinking of? And then why did Mike say it was terrible?
I think I narrowed it down to a musk turtle. And so actually when Aqua Decor was designing that custom background for me, I wanted them to